What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Rashad Landers, and first of all, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers who subscribed after that recent Tennessee video about Jaden Springer committing. We gained a lot of subs. We just gained 20 subscribers in the last 28 days, so I want to thank you guys for that. And I want to thank you guys for the likes as well, because I usually don't ask for likes or subscribers. I just ask you to tell you to like or subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And, I'm not forcing you to like and subscribe like people would do where you would get bad luck and all that. All that's extra to me. But I just want to thank you guys for all the support as usual as I do, because you guys are truly helping me out. And, it's cool to look at views go up. I have YouTube goals and aspirations. And I thank you guys. 100 subscribers will be big. I think we got about 5 subscribers to go. So tell your friends they like college basketball and they like debating the topic and all that to subscribe to this channel. Alright, so what am I coming with today? Got my clipboard here. I'm coming with Champions Classic. A lot of guys have requested this video personally from my school. And people over the social media that watches the channel, they've been asking about the Champions Classic and who I think will win the Champions Classic. So for those of you who don't know, the Champions Classic is probably one of the biggest tournaments. Not necessarily a tournament, but it's just a showcase or event for college basketball where the top 4 teams in the nation play each other. So it starts off with number 1, Michigan State versus number 2, Kentucky. If we look at it right now, you got Cal Orange, who's a senior. Joshua Langford is out for Michigan State, I believe, so that sucks. Rocket Watts is still here, though. Cassius Winston, Aaron Henry's in his second year. I don't know if Joey Hauser can play or not, but if so, he'll be a huge asset. Xavier Tillman, Malik Hall, he should probably get some clock, and Marcus Bingham. You look at Kentucky, you got Ashton Hagans, Nate Sestina, the grad transfer, Khalil Whitney, Tyrese Maxey, Nick Richards. I heard on reports that he was hurt in the scrimmage that they played, I believe, yesterday or so. You have Emmanuel Quickly, Johnny Juzang, Dante Allen, Keon Brooks, and E.J. Montgomery. So those names that I just named for each team are possible guys that can possibly play. And if you look at it on paper, I believe that Kentucky has, they have Michigan State beat in terms of talent-wise and, scoring-wise and go-alongs with that. But Michigan State finds a way every year. They come in number 1 for a reason. I think this is probably one of the most highly expected Michigan State teams with Watts and Winston, especially Winston. It's probably considered number 1 as on every, CBS, NCAA, all of it for top players in the nation. He's probably number 1 everywhere. Point guards and everything. Cal Orange, senior leadership is going to matter. I'm interested to see how Michigan State matches up, though, with Kentucky's bigs, with Sestina. That's a grad transfer. He's 6'9", about 230-something. Interesting to see how that matches up. Ashton Hagans, Cassius Winston, that's a great matchup, too. Bob Cousy, award watchers right there, 2 draft picks also. Then you got Rocket Watts matched up with, like, Tyrese Maxey or guys along that line. Kentucky got them beat on paper, and I'm going to go with Kentucky beating them in the game as well. I'm just, even though Nick Richards is hurt, man, you still have E.J. Montgomery. You still have, Nate Sestina, as I mentioned. And then, Keon Brooks can play the 4 if you want to bring somebody like Montgomery off the bench to where that can be the secondary big. So you got Brooks at the 4 and, things along that line. Whitney can go to the 4. That's what I was talking about when I mentioned earlier in one of my videos that Kentucky probably has some of the most diverse players, when it comes to those guys about 6'7" to the 6'9" range that can play maybe 2 through 5, really the 1, when it comes to guys like Whitney and Juzang and guys along that line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Kentucky, over Michigan State. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State wins, though, when it comes to leadership and, just Tom Izzo being a great coach, Cassius Winston being a great leader, Orange, depends on how Watts and Hall play, Bingham, the guys along that line, Xavier Tillman, Aaron Henry. It all depends on the secondary guys from Michigan State, not the main guys, when it comes to that. We're going to go to the second game, which is Number 3, Kansas versus number 4, Duke. So you got Kansas, you got Marcus Garrett, Devon Dotson, Christian Braun, Isaiah Moss, Jalen Wilson, Tristan Enora, Silvio De Souza, O'Shea Abaji, David McCormick, Udoka Azubuike, and Mitch Lightfoot. For Duke, we have Wendell Moore, Vernon Carey, Cassius Stanley, Trey Jones, Javin DeLaurier, Joey Baker, Jordan Goldwire, Alex O'Connell, Matthew Hurt, Jack White. So when I'm saying these names, these are guys that I believe that will touch the court in those games, and not the whole roster where it comes to red shirts and walk-ons and things along that line. If you look at this one on paper, this one is probably pretty evenly matched. If I had to pick, though, I'm probably going to go with Kansas just by experience in general. De Souza and Azubuike in the front court, man, that's pretty much unstoppable throughout the country. I think this year Kansas, for Kansas to be great, is going to depend on guard play, which is, they have. So I feel like Kansas is the more all-around complete team. Probably going to start Devon Dotson, Isaiah Moss, and O'Shea Abaji in the backcourt. Isaiah Moss, grad transfer from Iowa, averaged about 13.4 points per game and along 5 rebounds. That was a huge pickup for them. So I see him starting with, Dodson, who can put up a double-double any night at the 1 and play defense. You got O'Shea Abaji, who they uplifted his red shirt last year, and he just came on an absolute scoring feast. Then, guys backing up like the Marcus Garrett, another great guard coming off the bench, lengthy at 6'7". He played a lot of 1 through 4 last year. Christian Braun, a freshman, about 6'6". He's bouncy. He can shoot it. Tristan Enora might get some clock. He's 6'8". Big Dave off the bench, 6'10". He's big. Mitch Lightfoot experience off the bench. Jalen Wilson, one of the best scorers in the nation as well. Kansas team is deep this year, and they're deeper than Duke. And Duke is one of the most deepest teams this year, as I mentioned in an earlier video. Duke, Wendell Moore, Vernon Carey, and, I'm thinking I'm going to start Vernon Carey and Matthew Hurt probably in the front court. That's what I see. Maybe Javin DeLaurier, probably start all 3 of them together, as we've seen DeLaurier play the 3 in the past in Duke games. So I wouldn't be surprised, since DeLaurier is the captain and things along that line. It'll be interesting to see how they match up with the front court. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach K goes to that 2-3 that we saw a lot the year before and a little bit last year. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go to the 2-3 to match up probably with the size or get in foul trouble. When it comes to Duke guard play, they can match up, in my opinion, with Trey Jones, who's arguably another Bob Cousy Award watch list. He's one of the best guards in the nation, puts ball pressure on the ball. Wendell Moore, who's arguably, he's 6'6", he can play any position in the backcourt. He's probably one of the best two-way players in the nation, a very underrated aspect. He was a top 15 prospect coming in. Didn't get a lot of hype, though, because you hear a lot about 1s and 2s, but you don't hear a lot about 10 and after that in general. But Wendell Moore is probably one of the best players to come in two-way for sure. O'Connell is still there. Shoot the lights out. Jack White, shoot the lights out. If they're hitting, Duke has a chance for sure. Joey Baker, red-shirted last year. He was a top 15 prospect. Then he reclassed up to go to Duke last year. Turned into a top 40 prospect, but he still has that 5-star potential. Looking forward to seeing him play this year. Jordan Goldwire would be a big piece if Coach K wants to run the 2-point guard lineup like he did a lot last year. Be interesting to see how that goes as well. Pretty much it for Duke. Cassius Stanley, I forgot about Cassius Stanley. Whatever Cassius Stanley provides, I'm just going to say that's where he helps Duke. Whether it's rebound, steals, or anything, intensity, deflections, all of that. Because a lot of people ask me, a person asked me the other day, why did Cassius Stanley go to Duke? I said Cassius Stanley went to Duke to be a better guard. He said, the guy said he's a flashy player and all that, I expect him to be a UCLA or something like that. And I said, well, Cassius Stanley identified his weaknesses, and Coach K has been known to produce guards lately. You look at Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett in the league, they're already starting. Cassius Stanley is not along the lines of them, but, when you think about it, if you want to be a better guard, you go to Coach K, in my opinion, even though he's produced some talented bigs recently. But yeah, I got Kentucky over Michigan State. Scoring prediction for that game, probably high 80s, low 90s. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Along with the second game, probably high 80s, low 90s with that game as well. It's going to be interesting. Great coaches all across the board. Tom Izzo, Coach Cal, Coach K, Bill Self, all-time greats, Hall of Famers, no doubts. So I got Kentucky over Michigan State. I got Kansas over Duke. That's been my predictions for the Champions Classic. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And, if you're liking the channel so far, please be subscribed. I've gained a lot of attention lately on the channel, and I appreciate all you guys for the support. I'm switching up the scenes. This time I took a little break. I grinded hard for a week, came out with a lot of videos, gained some subs, got a lot of views. Now I'm looking forward to be back. College basketball is back Tuesday, baby. A lot of teams outside of the Champions Classic is hooping, Nova's hooping, Indiana, teams along that line. Check those out on their networks most likely. But if you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, please leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. If you go to the channel information, that's where you can see my social medias and stuff. Talk a lot about sports on there as well. But I want to thank you guys for the support recently, and have a nice day.